In today's class, I'm going to explain the poem The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. Robert Frost was a famous American poet of early 20th century. He published several volumes of poems including A Boy's Will, North of Boston, Mountain Interval from which the current poem has been taken, New Hampshire, West Running Brook and a further range. Frost observed that the present poem, The Road Not Taken, is based on the feelings expressed by one of his friends, and that he himself had no regrets or second thought about any of the choices made by him in his life. As such, the speaking voice in the poem is not that of the poet Robert Frost himself, but that of a character created by him. The narrator came across two roads branching out at a point in the forest. After some hesitation, he selected the road on which fewer people seemed to have gone. At that time, he thought that he would explore the other road at some other time. However, he was aware that in life the chosen path usually leads to further paths and one is not able to return. He feels that his choice of the less frequented road has changed the course of his life forever. More broadly, the poem presents the difficulty of choosing a career, a situation often faced by young people. One may select a more challenging career line which fewer people adopt because that seems to offer a greater sense of fulfillment. In the process, one may have to leave aside some activity or career which is also fascinating. At that time, a young person may think that they will also explore the other interest at a later stage. But in life, as we move forward on the selected path, we move further and further away from that other interest. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry, I could not travel both. And be one traveller long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though as for the passing there had worn them really about the same, and both that morning equally lay. In leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day. Yet, knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere ages and ages hence, two roads diverge in a wood, and I the one less travelled by, and that has made all the difference. The poem describes the dilemma of a person standing at a road with diversion. This diversion symbolizes real life situations. Sometimes in life, too, there comes a time when we have to take tough decisions. We could not decide what is right or what is wrong for us. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry, I could not travel both. And be one traveller, long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. The poem symbolizes our life. The poet says that the path that we do not choose in our life is the road not taken. He describes his feelings about that choice that he had left in the past. The path which we have chosen decides our future, our destination. The important message that the poet wants to give us that the choice that we make has an impact in our future, and if we make a wrong choice we regret it, but we cannot change it, go back. Therefore we must be wise while making choices. The speaker, walking through a forest whose leaves have turned yellow in autumn, comes to a fork in the road. The speaker, regretting that he is unable to travel by both the roads, stands at the fork in the road for a long time and tries to see where one of the path leads. However, the speaker cannot see very far because the forest is dense and the road is not straight. Then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though as for that the passing there had warned them really about the same. The speaker takes the other path, judging it just as good a choice as the first, and supposing that it may even be better the option of the two, since it's grassy and looks less worn than the other path. However, now that the speaker has actually walked on the second road, he thinks that in reality the two roads must have been more or less equally worn in, and both that morning equally lay in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day. Yet, knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. Reinforcing this statement, the speaker recalls that both roads were covered in leaves, which had not yet been turned black by foot traffic. The speaker exclaims that he, in fact, just saving the first road and will travel it at a later date, but then immediately contradicts himself with the acknowledgement that in life one road tends to lead onward to another. So it's therefore unlikely that he will ever actually get a chance to return to that first road. I shall be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere ages and ages hence, two roads diverge in a wood, and I took the one less travelled by, and that has made all the difference. The speaker imagines himself in the distant future, recounting with a sigh the story of making the choice of which road to take or choose, speaking as though looking back on his life from the future. The speaker states that he was faced with a choice between two roads and chose to take the road that was less traveled by. And the consequences of that decision have made all the difference in his life. Thus, the poem brings out the importance of making a choice. Frost uses the two roads as metaphors for life. They stand for two choices, two alternative ways of life, and two different directions of life. The choice we make makes all the difference in life. The poet stands at a junction in a yellow forest. Two roads are branching out in two different directions. He is a single traveler and can't travel on both the roads at the same time. He looks at the first road as far as he can see, till it bends in the undergrowth. Today, the teenagers face many problems. It's about selecting friends and following the rules and regulations. But when we act according to our values and beliefs, this solves major problems so that they can lead a comfortable life.